and welcome everyone to the comic multiverse where the worlds of nerd meet, and a happy E3 to you, Matt, and a happy E3 to all of you in the chat. It's the happiest time of the year for video game players out there, for real gamers and their Monster Energy drinks.
For real gamers and people who enjoy chaos.
Also that too. Man, there's a lot of chaos this year. I'm gonna fucking kill chaos. I love that, where it's like, man, you're coming in strong, you're coming in at 11, I'm here to kill chaos. Me and my Henley shirt. I'm glad that there's finally a video game character that I can cosplay, Matt. For those who don't know, everyone, we're talking about Final Fantasy Origin USA. It's a remake of the first one because Garland is there, but it's also like really weird too and updated and Dark Soulsy.
It's updated, but updated if updating was like we're in 2003.
We say updating, but in fact it actually looks like something that Square Enix made back in that weird period when they were trying really hard to court American audiences. Also, thank you, McKelly's, for the subscription. Like I'm talking like back in the days of the original Nier, not like those two good Niers you got, but like the old Nier
the
when they
one.
when they changed everything about it. It's crazy to think we're back there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so E3 is going on, if you couldn't tell, everyone, and Matt and I have thoughts. It's been going on for 2 days, and it's going to keep going on. They've actually stretched the show considerably.
Of course they have. They got to fill in all the gaps there that we wouldn't usually have.
I guess so. I
guess like the big because it's mainly because like Sony's not there. I think like Nintendo's doing their own thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. Again, I don't know about you, but we've had 2 days of it so far, and I would say, nothing disappointed me, but like nothing's truly impressed me either. It feels very much like a pattern holding year.
Yeah, I was just about to say that it's like a stopgap year. This is the year like everything was affected by COVID, so it's like, well, what do we got? What do we got? Like we'll pull out this old IP that we kind of shelved, and we'll work on it for a little bit and like present it.
It kind of had no choice but to be because of COVID, every video game maker lost 1 to 2 years of development, basically, so they're all behind. And also, and here's the big one, it's hard to get people excited about next-gen video game titles when most people out there don't even own your new console yet, either because of delays, lack of stock, or scalpers.
Well, as well as that, it's hard to get people excited about it because a lot of the games aren't true next gen. They'll be like, this is the next gen game, and they say it's coming to PlayStation 4. So one's like, oh, you developed this for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One first, and then ported it.
My favorite is I guess what you would call the backporting is what it is. Hey, Godfall, everyone, is going to be on the PS4. I'm like, but I thought that was a next-gen game. Oh, I guess it isn't as next-gen as you wanted it to be, huh? I guess you probably didn't sell as many.
Biggest seller. So now they're putting it on PlayStation 4 so it'll sell a bit more.
So they could sell a little bit more. Ooh, I guess that's possible, huh? Well, I'll be. I guess of everything we've seen so far, what stuck out to you? What really excited you?
Nothing really. As you said, it's kind of like a holding pattern year. So, but I liked we got Elden Ring there.
Yes,
at the beginning.
That's right.
That looked pretty cool, like an open world Dark Souls 5, basically.
Yeah, that's more or less what it's. In fact, like if you had just shown me that and told me that it wasn't Elden Ring, I'd be like, oh, Dark Souls 5.
Well, I think that's probably what it was, and then maybe George R.R. Martin got involved and wanted to be involved and be like, oh, we'll change it all then.
Like, literally, it has all the telltale marks of a From Software game. Talk about flame, a lady in a hood, a corrupt church, a wolf knight with a big sword.
Your character is not the unkindled or the unburned. It's like around that same sort of...
The tarnished.
Archetype. Yep, the tarnished.
Yes, you've got a mysterious-ass name. The big appeal now, I guess, is now it's open world and you have a mount. Which, that's cool. I can dig on that.
Yeah.
I'm sure it will be good. From Software makes quality games for a very, devoted fan base, and maybe this time I'll actually finish this one. either because of difficulty or because I end up taking a break from Software games. I never finish them because I get pretty far, come back and be like, oh no, I don't remember how to do anything. I've lost all my reflexes. Fuck. Well, you might as well just start over at this point. Is the general feeling. But yeah, that looked cool. I'm actually more excited for Far Cry 6 than I thought I would be. Far Cry 6 actually looks super cool.
I can't get excited about those games.
I mean, I completely sat out 5 and whichever one came after 5 because they had like that weird like sequel afterwards.
It wasn't really it was just like a reskin.
It was a reskin to make it all bright and colorful. This one looks cool because, I mean, part of the big appeal of Far Cry has always been being a guerrilla fighter. So this one just said, fuck it, we're doing our own take on the Cuban Revolution. We got the guy from Breaking Bad to be the bad guy because literally bad guys sell this whole series. But hey, you actually get to see your players or your playable character's face this time, which I appreciated.
That is one thing I do like. You're not an unnameable character who doesn't talk or anything. You don't see his face or anything.
Yeah, maybe they'll actually spread some of that characterization around, because I loved they started Ubisoft by being like, oh, Far Cry has some of the greatest villains in all of video games. I'm like, yeah, your villains are good. Why can't you share that characterization with your main characters? Hopefully they'll do that. I like the kind of cobbled together weapon things, the crazy backpacks. I'm like, all right, this is maybe doing just enough to get me back into Far Cry.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there was also an Avatar game, which it really feels like either people are super on board for the Avatar game or people don't give a shit. Where do you fall?
I don't give a shit.
Never has so much time, effort, money, and resources been thrown at something so arguably empty as James Cameron's Avatar. And I was talking about this with Kurt and you and other people on Twitter, where it's like, look, even if you thought it was the best, most mind-blowing thing back in 2009 and it changed your life, are you really still holding out for it all this time later in 2021? Understand.
Again, like, why are people holding it up to such a high standard? It was a very, very run-of-the-mill, like, plot and, like, story. And even, like, the world of Pandora I don't particularly find interesting, because someone pointed this out and I, like, oh, that's why I don't like it. It depicts everything as, like, perfect. There's no, like, none of that nitty-gritty, like, evolution. Right, had a fucking joke with this fucking design of a creature or something, no muddy or anything gritty stuff. It's just all perfect.
It's that, and what gets me too is, like, yeah, technologically speaking, it was a huge advancement for 2009. We've come so much further than that, and it's weird too that, even though the movie was all about embracing 3D technology and embracing new technology, the game looks pretty standard. I'm like, no, see, this should have been VR. This should have been something crazy where you rolled the dice on it, but no, you're just giving us another what looks to be bog standard first-person shooter, okay?
And it's Ubisoft, so it'll just be like their Assassin's Creed worlds, but Pandora.
How many towers am I going to have to climb, Matt? Yeah. How many towers?
Trees, though.
You got to climb the big tree. There you go. And you got to mark our words right now, everyone. And again, if we're right, you owe us a Coke. In that game, you will need to climb a big tree and you'll need to connect your what is it, your ponytail dongle into the thing. And that's how you open up the map.
Yeah.
It's going to all be ponytail dongles is what it's going to be. So that was one. Obviously, I always like to try and nail down the theme of E3s. A couple years ago, it was all samurais because we had Neo and Ghost of Tsushima and everything else there, and it was all samurais. This year, the theme seems to be either vampires or creepy Russian shooters.
Yeah, or a mixture of both, yeah.
Yeah, Atomic Hearts, Redfall, which Redfall admittedly looked cool, but it's just a cinematic trailer, so I have no idea what the game's going to look like, but conceptually I can get behind it.
Yeah, that Atomic Hearts as well has been in development for a long time.
I know it has. Looks pretty good, though. I hope it ends up actually, being good.
I hope it actually ends up looking like that.
Also, that, too. That's another thing. It's hard to trust a lot of these things. What else was there at the show this year? Obviously we have to talk about the comic-centric stuff. There's a Guardians of the Galaxy game they're doing from Square, which basically reads like a big old apology for Avengers.
It does. It's been, again, it's not being made by the same people who made Avengers. No. That was Crystal Dynamics. This is being made by Eidos Montreal, who did the Deus Ex games and Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
which is a pretty good, pedigree of games to come from. It is weird that they're like, oh yeah, it's a big single-player experience where, you'll play as Star-Lord. I'm like, oh, so it's a big superhero team and I can only play as one. Why can't I switch around? Why isn't it co-op?
Technically use the other characters. It's kind of like a Mass Effect thing.
You can command them in battle,
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like at some point they probably did develop it to be a whole team thing, and then they're like, oh god, this is way too much to bite off, and people didn't so much seem to love it in the Avengers game, so let's reel it back.
Yeah, and the game itself, like, again, it feels like a holding pattern because it looks really strange.
Yes, and it comes out fairly soon. It comes out in October.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think. I'm like, oh, really? Because some of this doesn't look done yet.
It looks like things hadn't been properly rendered. Like I look at like Drax and stuff. It's like
yes,
it looks like you're missing like a skin file that like gives you like the detail on the skin because he's really smooth.
Yes, he looks like he's still rendering.
Yep.
Gamora's armor looks very plastic.
Mm-hmm. I can see what they're doing because that's like that was her armor.
For a while in the
during,
comics.
I think the Bendis run of Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah.
Yes, I think you're right, actually.
Yeah, and it looks like it's very shiny and like that plasticky look.
Dan Abnett is writing, which is pretty freaking cool. That means there's probably going to be a good Guardian story in there.
Yeah, and if you pre-order, you get his costumes from the comics, which
I saw that. I'm like, oh, you cheeky motherfuckers! You know I want that, but I'm against pre-ordering.
And that's them already like getting one ahead of the Avengers game because they didn't even bother doing that like properly in that game.
Yeah, I think Devin in the chat is right. The game looks like it has great potential, but I'm twice burned twice shy on you, Square Enix, after what you did with Avengers. And I know full well, if I want to play Guardians, you're going to make me find my freaking Square Enix account information again, which I've already forgotten.
No, the Square Enix ID, which is different to your login. Because things, and it's on that page that looks like it's like from X-Fire from 2005.
Oh, I know, it looks really bad. Why can't it be easy again? I did it once when I played Avengers. I did it again when I tried Final Fantasy Online. Forgot my information both times and had to jump through a ton of fucking hoops. God damn it. Oh, the chat is right, too. Dan Abnett's getting a lot of video game work recently because he's, writing that Darktide game, which is kind of in the Vermintide Warhammer universe, but elsewhere it looks very fun. I definitely want to play it. Mm-hmm. There's some Black Panther stuff, too, but I'm done with that Avengers game.
Yeah, again, the Black Panther stuff was like, it was just a cinematic trailer, and it's like, yeah, these cinematic trailers look awesome, but like, the game is going to be a complete mess.
I do appreciate, too, from a writing standpoint, hey, here's Ulysses S. Claw that kind of looks like his movie version, but with his big gun hand. Oh, look, now he's become the big red sound monster, and it looks like his original costume.
That was the one thing that they did really well in that, the villains and stuff in the story game. If the story is as good as the actual campaign was in that thing, it might be worth a play, but yeah.
Same. And again, it's like, I'm sure people in the chat are thinking, they're like, but wait, but didn't you guys, like, give Avengers credit? Yeah, we did. The story was fine, but it wasn't good enough to keep coming back the way they want us to keep coming back.
No, after that story, it just, like, dried up.
Like, I wish they had dumped all the always online service stuff and actually concentrated on a story mode.
Yeah, and stop putting out $15 skins.
Yeah, that's a rough one. What else was there? Again, it's kind of been a low-key 2 days, hasn't it?
It has been, yeah. I didn't even watch any of this live, mainly because it was at like 3 o'clock in the morning my time.
True enough.
Yeah, I knew that like we weren't going to get any huge, earth-shattering announcements.
Yeah, I watched it was happening. Oh, Outer Worlds 2, which again, mostly just a trailer, but a fun trailer.
I really enjoyed that first one. I played through it twice.
Same. Again, I think it was one of it was maybe my favorite game the year it came out. And I thought it was really funny, too, that we got the trailer for it at the first ever Xbox Bethesda show, because Microsoft now owns Bethesda, and this is their first year. And what was one of the games they showed off? Oh, The Outer Worlds, a game that literally marketed itself on flipping off and taking the piss out of Fallout under Bethesda. I thought that was so funny that they put them together, and literally the trailers, like, yeah, we got nothing, but we're just going to rip on E3 trailers in general.
Yep.
Also, it feels like, it's going to be in development for a very long time, because it feels like it didn't come out that long ago, and it just finished its last DLC.
It came out in, 2019?
Yeah, it didn't come out that long ago at all, so that they're already working on a sequel.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, more Outer Worlds is fine by me, and as we've seen, they can do like a New Vegas with it, where it's like, yeah, it's basically the same, but we changed this, and this.
Mm-hmm.
And it would still be fine. I mean, heck, a lot of people would say that New Vegas was better than 3, so there you go. If they can New Vegas their own work.
Yeah.
To keep up with the Fallout thing. Final Fantasy had a lot of stuff there. We mentioned the Chaos. What else did they have going on there at Square? Again, I feel like it's already... Oh, they're remaking most of the, Sprite Final Fantasies, apparently, like 1 to 6.
Which I'm very excited about.
Likewise, I haven't played most of those, so it'll be fun to actually, for history's sake.
Do we know what consoles they come to? Because I was just going to get them if they'll come into Switch.
I don't think... I mean, it would make sense if they came to Switch, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, they did a remake of one of them, or it was kind of like a remaster. I can't remember which number one it was for the Switch, which I've only seen it on Switch. It might be on other platforms, but I mainly only saw it for Switch.
True. I mean, that's really it. That's all that, like, I've watched all of these, and these are the only ones that have penetrated my mind.
Yeah, they, again, wasn't really all that much to, like, talk about.
Wasn't a sock knocking off year. And again, there's still time and everything, maybe there's some stuff tomorrow. What do we have tomorrow? We got Take-Two Interactive, the Grand Theft Auto people.
Is tomorrow Capcom? I know Capcom's coming up.
Yeah, Capcom is coming up. Warner Brothers, did they do one today, or are they doing one tomorrow?
They're doing one tomorrow, and they've got a big portion of it devoted to that Back 4 Blood game that they're really trying to shill.
Which looks really fun. I totally want to play that, because I loved me some Left 4 Dead, and I love that style game, and this just looks like a better, shinier version of that.
Mm-hmm.
So, sign me up for that one. And I think that's basically it. Again, there's no Sony, so nothing like that going on. And Nintendo basically does their own thing, because don't they always?
Yeah, they've got one thing. They've got a Direct coming up, and I think there's rumors that Sony's going to do something in the next 2 weeks of their own.
Because don't they always? Yeah. Devin in the chat says GTA 6. No, I think it's still too early for GTA 6.
Yeah, it'll be GTA 5, whatever PlayStation 5 version.
Yeah, the bundle. I'd say the bundle edition with everything. And I'm like, well, no, they actually have their stuff come out for free. There's nothing to actually bundle with it.
I'm waiting for them, because they did it with Red Dead. I'm waiting for them to do it. So it's like you can now play GTA Online for free. Separately. You don't need the game.
Yeah, I'm sure they're going to do that. That's going to be an option, because that seems to be the way to go. Hell, even Halo, now they're having their multiplayer completely separate from their game.
Uh-huh.
Oh, and EA, too. I always forget about EA, because they make me sad most of the time.
They haven't really done it. I mean, they revealed that new Battlefield, which looks pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, again, if you like that sort of thing, I feel like so many new games that are coming out now, like, fit into a certain mold. Like, oh, it's a Fortnite. Oh, it's a Dark Souls. It's an Overwatch.
Yeah. Which game? Yeah, it's like, how can we make our games an esports?
Yeah, what box are we going to fit this one into? Again, Pie in the Sky Dreams, maybe Take-Two Interactive finally announces Bully 2.
Yeah, no chance.
No, there's no
that's up there with the remaster of Red Dead Redemption 1.
Yeah, in a perfect world. Yeah. You know what? They could blow our minds with, hey, everyone, all this time later, we're actually coming out with story DLC for Grand Theft Auto 5.
No, that got cancelled. I guarantee you that got cancelled.
It all got shifted to online, where it's like, well, we could have story DLC. We got all these cutscenes and everything. Or we could put it online and make people pay money for it, or make them grind the fuck to actually get to this content, and then make them play with a bunch of hoopin' jackanapes online, so they'll never actually enjoy it.
Yeah.
EA, again, they might have something on the next Dragon Age. They might have something on the next Mass Effect, probably because the Legendary Edition just came out.
Yeah, I have to imagine they'll have something like that. What else we got? Oh, we got, like, it wasn't really it was just a reveal of the release date for Starfield, Bethesda's new game, which is going to be a PC and Xbox exclusive.
Right.
But that looks pretty good. Apparently, it's like, I think Todd Howard said it's like a Han Solo simulator.
Right. See, I saw the stuff from Starfield, and I'm like, I still don't get what's going on.
Yeah, I don't
really
understand. It's like, this is just like Star Citizen or No Man's Sky.
That's the feeling I got from it. I'm like, that doesn't feel very Han Solo to me. This, again, feels like the clean, sanitized version of space exploration. Mm-hmm. Give me aliens and cantinas, please.
Yeah.
And I guess EA might have something Star Wars related, but I'm so used to being disappointed by them now.
Yeah, I don't know.
Feels like the last E3s in a row, and we're working on something. We got it cooking up. We're working on something.
Yeah, never show anything or a logo or something.
They're the ultimate in like, oh shit, I didn't finish my homework before the presentation. Hey, look, because remakes and remasters are all the friggin' rage right now. Hey, Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2 remaster.
Well, that's been the rumor for so long. Like over the last year, I've been keeping up with it. There's rumors of it. And it hasn't been announced yet or anything, but I have to imagine it should be soon.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would get people all excited and hyped for it. Yeah. Star Wars, World of Endless Possibility. We don't know what we're doing, though. Or we know what we want to do, but we're so afraid people will hate it and it'll bomb and then Disney will take it away from us.
Yeah.
Because that seemed to be the fear after, like, a couple of real bad duds and a lot of, like, backlash against them. That was the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I could totally see it happening. I could totally see Disney being like, get your shit in order, make sure they like the next one, or so help us God, we're taking it away from you.
Well, I know that they've got the, like, a lot of companies can now make games, Star Wars games. Like, it's not just an E3 thing. Like, there's that Ubisoft one.
Oh yeah.
That I was sure
which
that
we didn't hear anything about.
I was sure that Massive was making the studio Massive, but they're making the Avatar game.
Right. Well, shit. Where's our Star Wars game, Matt? We were promised Star Wars. We were promised Star Wars and given Avatar. I am upset. Oh, well, I mean, that's basically all there is to say about E3 right now. Admittedly, again, it was a pretty low-key show. Not a lot happening.
Yeah. Oh, I think, if I'm reading the schedule right, I think the Warner Brothers one is, like, today.
Oh, is it? Yeah, I wondered if we were going to go up against it or not.
Hold on, let me just find out what time that is.
You do that, I'll talk. See, I was worried about going up against the Warner Brothers one because God help us if they have anything for Suicide Squad or Gotham Knights or everything, but I'm pretty sure they don't. I think they came out and said, like, nah, that's actually not happening.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening. I think it's, like, tomorrow morning for me, so it's a while away, I think.
Yeah.
Unless they changed this, unless this is an old schedule. I don't think it is. It's 4 days ago, so.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah, I would have liked it if Warner Brothers had given us some stuff to talk about. Like, what is that Suicide Squad game even? We don't even know.
Yeah, didn't that get pushed as well? I know Gotham Knights did.
It did. They both got pushed.
Yeah.
So we won't know. Oh, yeah, the chat's saying, yes, they are having a thing today, but it's only Bad Blood stuff.
Whatever.
Or Left for Bad Blood.
Yeah, Left for Dead Bad Blood, yeah. It's just Left for Dead, people.
It just is. But actually, I like that there's more characters and, like, more randomization and everything. It actually does look pretty fun. I do want to play it, I'm not going to lie. So I guess with that, we can actually hop in over to the comic news this week. And there was actually comic news this week, everyone.
There was, yeah.
Quite a bit of it, actually. Marvel Darkhold, the new big magical event that Marvel had teased before, shuffled around, is actually slated for the fall now.
Yeah, where's this fit in with Dark Ages and whatever else they're doing?
We don't know. They revealed 2 covers. There's this one right here that's on screen right now with Dr. Doom reading from the Darkhold, and another one with Scarlet Witch, which is interesting because Scarlet Witch has kind of been MIA for a little bit.
Yeah, she had that tie-in to Empire, and
yes,
that's about
nothing. And then nothing. Well, it looks like they're bringing her back in a big way as part of Darkhold, as part of the magical set, I guess, in the Marvel Universe, but still nothing with the X-Men yet.
How many mutants is she going to start triggering now that she's back?
Yeah, all of them, apparently. Apparently that's all they've been doing on Krakoa, is teaching the mutants to hate and fear Wanda specifically as their boogie person. How to gaslight a whole nation, that's how.
Yeah.
Also, as the chat is saying, yeah, Dr. Doom is busy. He's messing with the Darkhold. He's getting married. Mm-hmm. He's going to the Hellfire Gal. He's a busy guy.
Yeah, he's on the Guardians at the moment. He was recently turned into Rocket Raccoon.
Oh, shit, man. Busy guy. A lot of metal fingers and a lot of pies he is. But yeah, so there you go, everyone. Darkhold. I don't know if this is interesting me enough to check it out. Marvel and their magical universe has always been so laissez-faire.
Yeah, you compare it to like DC's, and it's just like there is no comparison. They kind of always half-ass it.
They sure do.
They don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, and this story actually ties in directly to another story that we're going to talk about at the end of the news segment, but it only highlights to me that Marvel is kind of mishandling their magical stuff and don't know what to do with it, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah. Again, it might have something to do with the fact that, like, Marvel's a bit more, like,
world outside your window.
Realistic. You know what I mean?
Finger quote.
Yeah, like whereas DC's all about capes and flying heroes and everything. DC's more, Marvel's more about the street level heroes and drama about that. Magic doesn't really fit into that all that well.
The problem with magic is that once you create magic, you have to explain it.
Yeah.
And again, with DC, it's like, oh, chaos magic and this, that, and the other thing. In Marvel, it's like, it's lots of things, but you could be a mutant and a magician. You could be Doctor Doom and a magician. Like, magic is all over the place and kind of weird.
They often hand wave it off as like, magic can happen. Anyone could do magic, but it has a price.
Also, is it really magic, or is it like science we don't understand? It feels like they keep going back and forth on it.
Yeah.
So that's a thing. But hey, if you're interested, there you go, everyone. Marvel Darkhold happening this fall. Mm-hmm. Now, a piece of news this week I was really not expecting. I think it's like the 20th or 25th anniversary of Fables from Image.
Mm-hmm.
And to celebrate that, Bill Willingham came out of his dark cave, apparently, and had many things to say, and that is there's 2 new projects. There's going to be more Fable stories, but there's also going to be a crossover with DC. Get ready for Bigby Wolf versus Batman, everyone.
Yeah, a thing that probably should have happened 20 years ago.
Tell me about a thing that should have happened during the Telltale era when they were making games out of both these things, and I'm like, wow, this really feels like you're striking while the iron is ice cold.
But it's got Batman in it, so it'll work.
So it'll probably sell. I mean, come on, if Batman can move issues of the Max when he met the Max, surely he can move issues of this too. Also, I guess it's kind of a return, too, for Bill Willingham, because Bill Willingham did a lot of DC work back in the day, so for him to come back and do this makes a lot of sense. A lot of people were quick to bring this up, too, and I would be remiss if I myself did not mention it. Hey, you mentioned this, these big crossovers and everything else in June, in the early part of June, which is, of course, Pride Month. Bill Willingham is known for being an ultra-right-winger who probably doesn't like gay people very much, so it's funny to see DC with their little rainbow icon. Hey, everyone, new Bill Willingham work, everybody. And they're like, you couldn't have waited a month? You couldn't announce this a couple days early? You had to announce it right at the beginning of June, huh?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, in Willingham's defense, which I never thought I'd fucking say, he's been pretty quiet over the last 4 to 5 years. Hasn't really said much. Mainly because as far as I know, he wasn't working on anything. I'm just saying, like, look, if you're excited about this now, maybe don't get too comfortable, because I feel he's probably going to say or do something to piss it all away soon enough.
It's going to take one thing and set him off.
Yeah, that's the problem. See, now that he's promoting this, it means people need to talk to him and do interviews.
And, people on I don't know if he has social media. Probably doesn't. But like,
he does, actually. He does have a Twitter.
People will talk to him on there. And in the way that Twitter people talk to, which is act like garbage people.
Yep, absolutely. So it's only a matter of time. Also, hey, Fables is pretty cool and everything. I liked the series, even if every so often he'd be like, he'd stop the whole book to be like, now let me tell you how I feel about abortion and gun control. I'd be like, where the fuck did this come from? And then he's like, oh, whoops, sorry about that. Time to tell you more stories about the big bad wolf. Doop-de-doop-de-doo. And that's why the Telltale Fable game is actually the best thing about Fables, because they did it without him.
Yeah.
now also too, his like co-artist, by all accounts I hear, is actually a pretty cool, nice dude and everything, so nothing against his co-creator on this one, whose name escapes me at the moment.
Are they coming back for these series?
I don't know. It would be nice if they did, though, right?
Yeah.
And also, too, if people think I'm beating up on Willingham just for his politics, don't worry. Apparently, he's an asshole just on the regular anyway. I heard stories from people who worked in Austin back in the day. Apparently, he would, like, throw parties and invite people just so he could kick them out later and make, like, a big show of it.
Oh, what the fuck?
So apparently he just sucks as a human being on every level, but is a pretty good writer sometimes. So there you go. But yeah, there's that news for you, everyone. Moving on, we got a brand new Deathstroke book that is going to be hitting DC pretty soon, and this one's written by Joshua Williamson. Holy shit, yeah. Joshua Williamson's getting around.
He is getting around. He's in charge of fucking everything at DC at the moment.
You could call this the DC Infinite Frontier era, but really it's the Williamson era, because it feels like they've just put him in charge of everything. Like, hey, Williamson, you're the new Jeff Johns.
And that's the thing. Like, he seems to just spin gold from everything he's doing.
He really does. Like, he wrote Flash longer than anyone else in the DC Rebirth era. He actually got to stick around for over 100 issues of his book, which is pretty stunning. He's making people actually interested in reading a Damian Wayne Robin book, and now he's seeing if he can make that magic work for Deathstroke, too.
Yeah, yeah.
The art here is kind of like a 70s exploitation movie and everything. It looks like Shaft.
Yeah, it looks like some Jim Steranko art.
Oh yeah, good pull. It looks very much like that, which makes a lot of sense because, you know, that's the era where Deathstroke was probably at his most popular. You gotta wonder, too, will this Deathstroke book link up at all with what we're seeing? Thank you, Mary Beth Wiley. Appreciate it. You gotta wonder, will this book link up with what we're seeing in the Damian book right now with Ravager, Deathstroke's daughter, and that new junior Deathstroke who calls himself Respawn?
Well, being that it's Williamson, I have to feel that it will, and I have to feel as well it probably might also tie into, like, the Future State stuff.
Yeah, true enough.
Because remember, we obviously had Rose Wilson in that with Jason Todd, and she mentioned Paradise Island and everything, and that Slade was running outside Gotham and everything. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. It's interesting, too, to get a Deathstroke book now when I think, like, actually DC Comics probably did, like, the biggest takedown deconstruction of him in other history of the DC universe, when Ridley's like, it's fucked up that you all love this guy so much and hold him up as such a cool badass when he is still canonically a pedophile.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. So I wonder how Williamson is going to attack that, if at all. I wonder if they're going to give him the Joker treatment and be like, okay, look, Deathstroke is on the book, but it's really about someone else in, like, the pull of Deathstroke.
I could see that happening, yeah.
Because, like, obviously, what is it, the last one we got, the last solo series, was actually really goddamn good and probably the best villainous protagonist story because the writer really did not try and sympathize Deathstroke at all. In fact, went out of their way to show him as a truly repugnant piece of shit.
Oh yeah, Christopher Priest made it very, very clear that this guy was a villain.
This is a bad guy. And even when, like, he got his, like, morality changed around and he tried to be a good guy for a little bit with, what was it, like, Team Requiem or, like, Team something?
Yeah, something like that.
Even then, he's like, oh, I'm trying to be good, but it physically makes me ill to be good. I just want to hurt people. And I'm like, wow, what an interesting take of a villain trying so hard to fight against their very nature.
It's pretty great. It's pretty great.
Yeah, it was solid stuff. Devin the Great brings up Knights and Dragons. What is it, the animated movie? Yes, that movie went out of its way really to try and soften Deathstroke as much as they could. Where it's like, no, he was, he's still a good guy. He's kind of a shitty father and everything, right? So I thought, yeah, that was an interesting. If you've never seen Knights and Dragons, everyone, it's probably the closest attempt anyone has ever tried to do to make, like, a more morally upstanding Deathstroke. So that's something. So yeah, that book's called Deathstroke Inc., and that's coming fairly soon.
Yeah, again, it was like a slew of titles they announced that are all coming very soon.
Yeah, in fact, I think Deathstroke, much like Darkhold, had actually been put on hold, like it was supposed to come out, but probably COVID slowed it down. So yeah, we're getting that one. On the topic of Titan-centric and Titan-affiliated characters, and Aqualad Calderam, or Jackson Hyde, as he is also known, is going to be getting a mini-series this fall, and we got to see the artwork from it, and it looks pretty slick.
It does look slick.
This is another instance, too, of like, man, DC, you really, again, no nautical pun intended, you missed the boat on Jackson. He was at the top of his game during like those first 2 seasons of Young Justice when everyone was in love with this character and wanted to see more from this character. You could have done so much, but you waited too long. But it's cool to see him finally get his flowers now. I mean, he's the only Aquaman or like Aqualad to get a miniseries, I think.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so good on him for being the first. And also, too, I didn't get to read the whole book because it's long, and I wanted to give it, the respect and time it deserves. But apparently he had... Well, no, not apparently. I know he has a big story in the DC Pride book that came out this week.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he has, like he fights Eclipso at the Gay Pride Parade.
Oh, that's awesome.
And Eclipso's like, ha, 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 no one will stop me here. And Jackson's like, I'm here, motherfucker. Oh, no. I didn't see that coming. I didn't think statistically some heroes would also be gay. Shit. Foiled again, Eclipso was. But yeah, this is cool. It's a nice looking book. So yeah, if you're a fan of, Aquaman or Jackson, this is definitely a time to check it out. Does Aquaman have a book right now?
Nope.
No, I guess he doesn't. Yeah, him and Green Arrow don't have books. So, hey, this is the only Aqua love you're going to get.
Yeah, Aquaman's only in Justice League at the moment.
True. Someone in the chat says their son is named Calder. Really? It's a good name. It's a good name. Good, solid name. Yeah, I like it. And he's not going to run into anyone else with that name, too, which is also nice.
Absolutely, yeah.
Where's the original Aqualad, Garth? No one seems to care.
Yeah, no one gives a shit about him.
He's in the ocean somewhere.
Everyone knows somewhere this one because of Young Justice, so they're going to use this one.
There you go. And also, some good representation where it's like, hey, here's an out gay character that actually gets their own mini. Mm-hmm. So that's nice. What else do we got going on here? Oh, some Image-related news, which I was not thinking we'd be talking about, but Spawn, Sam, and Twitch are apparently being developed right now for their own TV show, and this is kind of interesting because, the Mayor of Easton, that new, Kate Winslet murder mystery show that everyone's raving about, but I haven't actually seen yet? Yeah. Have you seen it?
I haven't been meaning to watch it.
Same. In fact, I'm probably going to start it after this when I go to bed tonight. But yeah, so the guy who show-run that show is show-running this now. Which makes me think, man, this guy blew up, with this show. Everyone loved it. And they're like, okay, what do you want to do? What do you want to throw your new Hollywood muscle behind? It's like, Sam and Twitch. And Hollywood was like, okay, sure, man, whatever. Honestly, Sam and Twitch show makes a lot of sense because if you listen to Todd McFarlane back in 2008 when he made his big declaration of, there'll be another Spawn movie even if he has to direct it himself, he basically said that movie would be told from the point of view of Sam and Twitch.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense. Of course, the problem with this show is the problem of a lot of times when they adapt, fun cop characters or fun side characters that are related tangentially to the heroes are the people who are going to be watching this show being like, when's Spawn going to get here? When are we going to get to the Spawn factory?
Yes, of course.
Or do you think that, Sam and Twitch, because not many people know they're an Image comic, do you think people are just going to watch their adventures and enjoy it and then be like, holy shit, a Spawn showed up?
I could see that, yeah. It depends on how they decide to do it. Are they just going to do it as a straight cop show? And it's then the end of the episode, Spawn shows up.
Or something, yeah. Again, how's this show gonna work? Are they working Crime Alley there, or I guess the Rat's Nest, or whatever the hell they call it in that show? I know it had a funny name.
Yeah.
Bumtown.
Everyone needs to be thinking when he's not on screen, where is Spawn?
Where is Spawn? Is that how they're gonna work it? Or is Jason Wynn and his corporation? Are they gonna be part of the show? I mean, I'm sure they could be.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Are we going to see other Spawn villains like Billy Kincaid? Is he going to be the season 1 villain? Because, again, he was in the HBO show and is just a regular serial killer.
Again, because of what the guy was doing with the Mayor of Easttown show, I don't think it will be the same. But I just hearing about it, it sounds a lot like Gotham, where it's
very much so.
We have rights for these characters, but we don't have rights for these characters. So we could. This is our Joker. He doesn't really look like Joker, but it's Joker because we called him Joker.
Yeah, really. Also, too, they said that, it's being developed. They didn't say for what network or what app, because let's face it, everything goes to an app now. Yeah. So I'm like, where would the Image-affiliated stuff end up? Would it end up on Netflix? Would it end up on HBO Max? Where does it go?
Probably not Netflix.
Probably not.
Maybe. Again, it depends on who McFarlane has deals with.
I mean, I guess Image is pretty good right now with Amazon, what with Invincible and everything.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see if it goes to Amazon, I definitely would be interested in this.
I guess we'll see, because, I mean, as we've seen with The Boys and everything else, Amazon is not afraid to just throw a shit ton of money at everything.
Yeah.
We're Amazon. We have all the money in the world. Here you go. Do whatever. We don't care. But yeah, so there's Sam and Twitch for everyone. It's an interesting time to be a Spawn fan between this and the new Spawn universe books, the Spawniverse that's starting up.
Yep.
Again, your cup runneth over for the first time ever, maybe.
The first time since 1995.
Yeah, really. Also, if you need, someone to play young Sam who is also chubby, white, and surly and can slick their hair back, I am more than okay playing young Sam. Look, for a flashback, just throw me in a trench coat, give me a smoke, I'm good. I can play young Sam. Be funny, people watch this show and be like, man, this Harvey Bullock is weird.
But when does Batman show up? Man, that Batman Harvey looks weird.
Yeah, man, so they kept Jim Gordon's glasses, but since when is he blonde and have all this wild hair? Hey, did they just do Gotham again? No, they didn't do Gotham. Also, the chat keeps mentioning He-Man. I think you guys greatly overestimate how much Matt and I care about He-Man.
Yeah, that show looks good, but yeah.
It looks fine. I'm glad you're happy. Also, man, the Bonnie Tyler estate must be making fucking bank this week between the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer and the He-Man trailer. Everyone's holding out for a hero. Which, man, I love Shrek 2 used holding out for a hero for its big, action set piece, ironically and tongue-in-cheekly, because, no one would use this song seriously. Now, flash forward to 2021, and everyone's like, nope, song slaps earnestly. It is cool. What are you talking about? In fact, let's also do Total Eclipse of the Heart again.
That's trailer 2.
Ah, there you go. Again, you got to give Deadpool credit for it, too, for its use of Earth Angel as well. Where it's no, see, cheesy 80 powers, power ballads, pop ballads, can actually be super awesome in a certain context. Oh, really? Did Detective Pikachu use it too? I might forget. Was it in a trailer or was it actually in the movie?
I think it did use it. I can't really remember it, though.
If so, that's actually pretty fucking dope. Yeah. I love all these years later, Bonnie Tyler is getting her roses and being nah, you wrote a jam for all time.
She doesn't, know what it's being used as, because someone else deals with the licensing. So, but she gets these checks what the fuck is going on this week?
Yeah, what is a Guardians of the Galaxy? What is a He-Man? Is she still alive, Bonnie Tyler? Let me look at that right now. Yeah, it says here she's actually still alive right now. Good for her. She's 70 years old, but she's still alive. Jesus. Good for her. Also, she's Welsh. I didn't know that.
Okay.
Yeah, good for her. Well, there you go, everyone. Yeah, the fuck is a Pikachu? Exactly. Why is it a detective? I don't know. I just know they gave me a lot of money. And our last news story this week actually ties in very much to that Darkhold story, and that is this September, Matt. Get ready, get your best black suit on, get your eulogy ready, because it's a funeral for a friend. We're killing Doctor Strange.
Again? I
know, right?
Has he died before? I'm fairly certain he has.
I'm sure. I mean, most characters do die, but no, it's the death of Doctor Strange. We're killing him because, again, much like as I said with Darkhold, we don't know what the fuck to do with our magical universe, not the least of which of our most prominent magical character who has a movie and everything. Also, what's the point of killing him if you're just going to bring him back by the time his new movie comes out?
Again, to just up sales briefly for when the movie comes out.
We're going to kill him now, and then by the time Multiverse of Madness, the return of Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Again, I haven't been invested in Doctor Strange in the longest time. This really does nothing for me, good or ill, but there you go, everyone. Yeah, Death Cell and Return Cell.
They don't know what to do with the character. Every run he's had, like, the most recent one I read, the Mark Waid one, was pretty good, but, like, again, it was like every run they just don't really know what to do with him. Even Jason Aaron didn't know what to do with him.
People like that one, but yeah, it couldn't keep my attention. Yeah. Chemdog in the chat saying there, people don't just drop dead at 70. They do in the music industry because they've been doing coke for years. That's why. They've been belting their hearts out on stage until their organs explode. That's why. It's actually very rare to find a musician who lived past 70. Of course, then again, you got your Ozzy Osbournes and your Keith Richards, where it's like, how the fuck are you still alive?
Deals with Mephisto.
Very much so. But yeah, so Doctor Strange is dying. I think Jed MacKay is writing this one, who apparently he's writing that really well-received Black Cat book, and he's going to be writing Moon Knight.
Yeah, maybe he's got something for this.
Yeah, maybe this will turn into like a Charles Soule writing The Death of Wolverine, where it actually ends up being like a celebration of the character's life and actually ends up being a good death. Yeah. And of course, when they bring him back too, maybe they'll have someone new to try and, take the reins. I was going to say Donny Cates should write, and they're like, oh, fuck, he did actually.
Yeah, he did. And even he didn't know what to really do with him.
Wow. Why is it so hard to write? Well, it's hard to write Doctor Strange because Marvel doesn't know what they're doing with their magical universe, so there you go.
Yeah, magic's always changing.
Mark Waid took him into space to try and study the roots of magic. I just got nothing for Doctor Strange. I really got nothing for him. I'd make him a paranormal detective, but then he's just being poor man's Constantine.
And again, I think that's been done.
It has. It's been done to death. It's been done several times. They made him a doctor again. They gave him the use of his hands, and even that didn't do shit. What the hell do you do with a magical character? He opened a school. That's it. They just straight up ripped off Harry Potter, and that was still nothing. Yeah. Why is this guy so hard to write? It's the damnedest. I mean, I guess you could go all multiversal with it like they're clearly going to be doing in the next movie.
Maybe that might be what they do. He becomes like the Sorcerer Supreme of the multiverse or something.
Ooh, see, that's actually pretty fun. And then you just do exile stories, but with Doctor Strange. Yeah. It's like Sliders, every time he goes to a different universe. Yeah, someone said we need a Hickman for Marvel's magic stuff. Yeah, you're right. If he could do it for the Avengers, if he could do it for mutants, just give him magic and let him do whatever the fuck he wants.
Hell, he might even do that with Wanda and everything he's doing there.
Yeah. Also, hey, what does this mean for that Defenders book that's coming out? Because we got a new Defenders book, and Doctor Strange is like a founding Defender and clearly on the team. Are they going to kill him and take him off that team when that book starts?
Issue and that's it.
Wow, that's a kick in the balls, is what that is. Someone in the chat actually reminded me Sal had a pitch where that is like, give him a daughter, give him a long-lost daughter, and then just make him the Doctor Strange stand-in for Venture Brothers.
Yeah.
Just make him Dr. Orpheus.
Yeah.
By the hoary house of Hoggoth, you're not going out like that, young lady.
Tevye, we can't possibly have Jack Kirby on Doctor Strange because Jack Kirby's been famously dead for about 30 years.
Really? So if he's been dead, then who have I been, sending checks to all these years? Damn, really dead? Yes, it says here he's been dead for a very long time, actually. For many, many years, over a decade. Yeah, maybe Zdarsky can take a crack at Strange. Maybe he's got something going on with him, I don't know.
Yeah.
Alright, so that's basically all the news from this week, everyone. So, some fairly interesting developments happening across the sphere of both comics and movies and everything else.
Yeah, again, though, as we said at the top of the show, it feels like a bit of a holding year.
It is, because no one had a chance to really do anything that much new or exciting. It's just trying to get us over the hump until things get back to normal. And in the States, I guess it is. More and more people are getting vaccinated. Yeah. How you doing in that regard, Matt? I know I talk about my troubles all the time.
We're doing all right, like in terms of like cases and stuff. Like where we can do whatever we want, basically. But in terms of vaccination, I think I'm probably due around August.
Yeah, because when we talked about this last time, both of our nations were on similar tracks, and we both thought we'd have to wait till summer.
August, September time, around there. I imagine I'll probably be getting my jab.
My nation's fucked up because I know people who are like younger than me and how somehow managed to luck their way into getting 2 if they live in a hot spot. Jim Zub, friend of the show, comic writer, I think him and his wife are all vaxxed up now because they live like in the Toronto hot zone, so they were able to get it. So good for them. My mom was in a lucky position too. She was just walking by a doctor's office and they gave her some AstraZeneca fairly early on. And I know, right? I'm like, only you, Mom, you have that fucked up
inside
one.
alley, like, hey, you got that AstraZeneca.
That literally, that's what it was. It's like, hey, someone didn't show up. Do you want some? Literally, that's what it was. And I'm like, Mom, are you just taking jabs from people in alleys again? Again, but no, it seemed to work. And then the Canadian government got all weird about it, and they're like, oh, well, blood clots might be a problem, maybe we should take it away. And then, like, all the people who got their first one was like, no, you can't take it away. Are you going to make us mix and match on this? Like, well, give it some time. And now they're like, okay, we'll put it out, but only for this limited time to try and get everyone who got their first of AstraZeneca to get a second one.
Yeah, I know that, I know there are people around my age and younger who have had it, but mainly because they, what they've been doing is they've just been showing up at, the vax centers and just, waiting just to see if there's any left over at the end of the day, and they'll just get it. They've had to stop, tell people, you can't do that. We can't have you doing that.
Yeah. Dark in the chat reminding us there that he got his second shot in Canada, but he works with high-risk people anyway. So, yeah, that's how it's kind of doing. I don't work with high-risk people. I work with myself, and I'm only a danger to myself. As everyone has often told me, Joel, you're a danger to yourself. Oh, Snowden from Quebec saying they don't have Astra in Quebec anymore, and he got his first dose of Pfizer. Nice. Yeah, I also got my Pfizer there, and I felt fine. Apparently, it's the second Pfizer that hits you.
Yeah, I'm probably going to be going with Pfizer as well. I don't want any of those pesky blood clots.
Yeah, we'll see about that. If anyone got it, my mom would. She was lucky. She was just really sick and delirious there for 24 hours.
Yeah, right.
I brought her some burritos. Like, hey, Mom, this is, from that burrito place you like. She's like, what? No, this is my first time having it. No, you had it before when you had your vax. I brought you some. And she's like, oh, I don't remember that. I'm like, yeah, you were pretty out of it, actually. She's like, oh, I guess I get to try it for the first time a second time. I'm like, oh, well, silver lining. So there you go. I don't think memory loss is a side effect, but there it is. All right, then. Do we want to talk about what we read this week? I actually got most of my books read this week for a change, which is nice.
Yeah, well, before we do that, why don't we talk about Loki?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Loki dropped this week. Weirdly, in the middle of the week, I feel like some people missed it because it's not on Friday. We've been trained to know new Marvel shows are on Friday.
Well, they did a big push before it came out saying, no, it's going to be this new Marvel show is going to be on Wednesday. So they can, because they can still be on Wednesday every day going forward. Bad Batch.
Yeah, I guess they didn't want to, cross-contaminate. Not that I think that's a problem.
No, well, I think it might just be because there is a crossover in fans there, they'll be like, which show do we watch first?
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, but yeah, so, I don't know what I was expecting for this show going in, but I think it met, and in many cases, exceeded a lot of the expectations I had for it, with probably some of the best hand-wavy comic booky explanations for cosmic stuff.
The one thing that really stuck to me is I really enjoyed this episode, by the way, but all the reviews I saw in the day before, they were like, because they saw 2 episodes, they're like, the first episode's kind of not very good. And I'm like, what show did you watch?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. But then again, I feel like it's made for a very certain obsessive type of fan, which you and I are. And that is okay, here's comic booky answers to justify the existence of this series. We're not just going to jump into it. True. Which I very much liked. Again, it's very utilitarian. In that first 15 minutes, they set up, here's the TVA, here's the, the Timekeepers, here's Owen Wilson's character, and they basically just go running from there.
Yeah. It's great. Everything sort of was set up right. It's great. It also helps that you don't have to introduce Loki.
Yeah, that is good. I do love, too, because it's one of my big fears going into this show is oh, so this is 2012 Loki, who obviously didn't get all the development that the other Loki had, so he's basically a completely different character now, and it's how are they going to get around this? That's the point of the first episode. They literally sit him down and show him clips from all the other Marvel movies to get him up to speed.
Him up to speed. They get him up to speed, and he kind of comes to the same realization as that previous Loki, but in a different way.
Yes, very much so. There's a lot in this series about self-determination, which I've always liked and that we always see in time travel stories, and that is like, hey, if there is a sacred timeline, if things are meant to happen, if things are set in stone, do any of us have any free will? Well, I'm the god of mischief, I create trouble, and that really affects me deeply to know that all this mischief that I've devoted my life to actually meant nothing in the grander scheme of things.
Yeah. It's fantastic. Yeah, all the stuff that he's bet his entire life around is just meaningless.
Yeah, there's something, and Hiddleston sells the shit out of that in his performance. The bit I love, where he's like, "Ooh, I've stolen a cosmic cube, and oh, they've got all these other Infinity Stones here." What do you mean they're useless here? What do you mean they're paper? I've spent my whole life after this type of power. Oh, and it all means nothing. I am an insect to you. Fuck.
Yeah.
It's really cool how they do that. Owen Wilson makes for a really interesting foil to Loki because he just doesn't get rattled by anything he says. No,
yeah, he calls him a great big pussycat.
Yeah, really, man, just doesn't get rattled by nothing. Vouches for him because, as we eventually discover, someone is killing time agents, and that person is a Loki variant that only Loki can help. So we're doing, a little Hannibal and Clarice thing going on. Only a killer can catch a killer.
I like that Owen Wilson is like some sort of like time detective, and he's like investigating time crimes and whatnot. I think that's pretty cool.
It's, again, this show matches up like some of the best parts of like Doctor Who and The Good Place, and the aesthetic I really dig is that it's like this weird like technology is super advanced but also didn't advance past the 60s.
Yeah, it's like a 60s spy movie sort of stuff you see in like Control and stuff like that.
Yes, very much so. Yeah, it's like a weird like Soviet filing office, like it's all very drab, but there's like a super advanced city.
It looks fantastic.
Yeah, it really looks good. Yeah, they put a lot of thought into it. Frickin' Tara Strong is the voice of Miss Minutes, the little cartoon that tells you stuff. Apparently, she keeps recurring. Apparently, she's actually a big part of the show.
Oh, excellent. I imagine there's probably a couple of things you need to explain. Because, in the first episode, she explains basically the Secret Wars.
Yes.
Which apparently happened.
Pretty much. Which is crazy. Again, it's such a huge, big Marvel thing where it's like, there used to be a bunch of timelines fighting for each other, and then, the Timekeepers came and condensed it down into one sacred timeline. That's why the Avengers didn't get in trouble for monkeying around in time like they did, because, that was supposed to happen.
That was meant to happen.
That was meant to happen, which I love. Also, too, as the chat mentions, the judge in this scene, that's Renslayer or something, basically... Yeah. Yeah, Renslayer. Basically one of Kang the Conqueror's love interests.
Yeah, so I imagine that's going to be coming up soon. I imagine that he has to be in the show because they cast the actor, Jonathan Majors, like long before Ant-Man and the Wasp started production on their third film, which he was meant to be the villain of. So I have to imagine he's in here.
And yeah, they're going hard on time. I actually read one theory that I don't think they'll do this, but it's a very interesting theory all the same, where it's like, there's 3 timekeepers. What if each one of these timekeepers was Kang from a different, cinematic universe? Like, this is Kang from the Marvel universe, from the Sony universe, from the Fox universe. And this is how they explain all those other X-Men films, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and the Netflix shows, and the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, where it's like, nope, other variant timelines.
It's funny you brought up Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., because they basically, in this, say, it's like, that's not canon anymore. They're like, Coulson died. And he didn't come back.
Coulson died. Yeah, I was going to say, but, didn't he die at the end? I didn't watch the last season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so I don't actually know.
Coulson died, and then his body, his mind and stuff got put into an LMD.
Right.
Yeah. So he technically did die, but again, that would be something Owen Wilson would say. It's like, you killed him, but he's still alive somewhere.
True enough. And the fact that he never met up with anyone ever again, I'm like, that's fine. That's fine. I enjoyed Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but I'm not going to weep tears.
I would have kind of if they'd had it planned out, in the final episode, the TVA comes in to scrub the timeline and just kills everyone.
That would be interesting, straight up Deadpool to it, where it's like, okay, we got to go back and fix some shit. I'd be okay. But then again, it's but the Andrew Garfield movie gets to stay, and the Tobey Maguire movie gets to stay in the multiverse somewhere. It's fucked up. Again, I would very much like again, if you could get like the Netflix people to come in and be like, look, okay, here's Luke Cage, everyone, he exists, but in another universe.
Maybe that's where the show's going, because I have a feeling that like Loki's by the end of this show, Loki's gonna cause some mischief and end up with like multiple multiverses again.
That's also absolutely something that could happen. Loki could just tear it all down.
I have a feeling that's what he's going to do as well.
I mean, that's very mischievous. I dig, too, the kid being like, oh, it's the devil. And everyone, myself included, jumped to the conclusion, like, oh, is that like an actual real Mephisto reference? It's Mephisto, but the way they explain it is great, where it's like, no, it's Loki. And I'm like, oh, yeah, of course, because Loki's helmet has horns on it.
For someone in the 16th century, that would look like the devil.
I'm like, okay, you know what? You did it. You did it. That actually makes a fuck ton of sense. Okay. Yeah. So there you go. So that's Loki, episode 1. Pretty good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the second one, because again, the reviewers said that second episode is so good.
I love that all these Marvel shows continue to be so different.
Yeah.
So different from each other.
This is the first one that actually feels like a proper TV show. The other ones felt like events, like mini events sort of thing.
Yeah, like movies that are stretched out like this. Yeah, you're right. It has a very procedural vibe to it. And yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, maybe every episode is just them dealing with a different time crime.
Well, I do know one of the time crimes is something to do with Pompeii, and like Loki sets off Mount Vesuvius.
So we're doing a little Legends of Tomorrow too while we're at it. Man, you got to imagine those characters are pissed out. It's like, no, we did the time crime stuff first. Yeah, but you're not Tom Hiddleston, unfortunately. Legends is still really good, everyone. They built a whole episode around the frickin' Buzzcocks, and then they built another episode around Aleister Crowley and Disney animation. Yeah. That show actually only gets better the longer it goes on.
It really does.
Yeah, for real. Chat saying Law and Order TV. Yeah, I'd watch that.
That'd be pretty good, as long as Owen Wilson's in it.
Yeah, where do Benson and Stabler exist in the variant timelines is what I want to know. All right, do we want to talk about what we read this week? All right, where do you want to start, Matt? Because, again, big old week.
Let's start with Heroes Reborn issue 6.
Yes, the penultimate issue to this. We get one more issue, and then the Heroes Return that actually finishes it off, which I'm sure will be an extra-length issue.
Yeah, and this issue was probably the most tied into the actual alternate reality plot than the other issues, because we had Power Princess fighting Thor.
Yes, absolutely. Power Princess, who, much like Nighthawk and Dr. Spectrum, is a horrible human being.
Very horrible
human being, killed all the other Utopians, keeps heroes like Hercules and everything as statues on her front lawn while she lives in the Statue of Liberty. Not only is she bad to other people, but apparently she's bad even to her teammates, where it's like, yeah, I'm stupping Nighthawk and Hyperion, and sometimes I make them fight civil wars over me because I think it's funny.
I'll make them fight that second civil war because I'm bored.
Yeah, I'll just do it because of that. I like what they do with Namor, who in this universe is like her Steve Trevor, who gets her from like her crazy island, and they fight Nazis in the World War II. I thought that was
pretty cool,
bit. Especially because like Aquaman and Wonder Woman in the Flashpoint universe get together, so I'm like, oh, so it's like a double reference.
And she has like an evil mirror, like Snow White, Severus, the witch in that. Yeah, she's got like, and even asked her, who's the like fiercest of them all.
Is it me? Yeah. That is, of course, until Thor's magic thunder starts fucking with everything and people start coming back like Hercules. That's a great panel, too, where she's rechaining Hercules. I'm like, oh, it's like a take on the famous image of DC Hercules chaining up Hippolyta. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, that's fun. Jason Aaron did his homework. I feel like Jason Aaron had the most fun with this one because he's referencing Thor shit and he wrote Thor for over a decade. I think in
my view, it's like a continuation of all his Thor stuff because it's so heavily ingrained into all the stuff he did, because we get stuff like because she's filling in the Thor role in this universe, so she ended up fighting Gore and his God Bomb and ended up taking the Necro Sword for herself and using it to kill Gore. And what else? There was the other two Zardas, one from the future and one from the past.
Yeah,
one had the metal arm and everything. It was kind of looked like the Kingdom Come Wonder Woman as well.
Very. And the younger version, which she's still just wearing a toga. That's a great backup, too, because we just see drunk, defeated Thor just drinking the eons away while Zarda literally lives his life and is there for all the most important moments, which are stuff that Jason Aaron wrote. That was a nice touch, and yeah, it's great because Zarda's like trying to kill Thor, and he's still drunk and stupid and doesn't know what's going on. And she's like, "Why does it feel like something is protecting you every time I try and punch you?" And that's because the hammer, which is alive, which Aaron created, is still protecting.
The hammer knows something's up.
And when Thor actually becomes the God of Thunder in this, it's his old costume, not his new movie costume.
It's not his Galactus costume.
Which, again, I think is very interesting because it's like, well, yeah, time would be different. They would be in their original costumes.
Yeah, I have to imagine as well, when we get back in Heroes Return, they'll all be in, like, their original costumes.
Yeah, where it's like we can't change it up or anything. But, yeah, it was fun, and, like, Power Princess literally takes this information back to the squadron. She's like, I don't know what Avengers are, but they're kind of out to get us. We better be ready. Which I guess is what the next issue is going to be, and Heroes Return is going to be. But yeah, so it was pretty solid.
It was pretty damn good.
Yeah, pretty fun. Lots of fun references in that one. What else was this week that you wanted to talk about, Matt?
Justice League, Last Ride.
Oh, yeah, shit, that was this week, too. Yeah, absolutely. Chip Zdarsky's ongoing story, the big mystery of why the League broke up, and we get a lot of insight into that this week.
Yeah, and it basically boils down to Darkseid deciding, I'm going to rule the universe.
Yeah, I'm going to use my Boom 2 technology to plant bombs all over the world. And I'm like, that's actually a great idea. Why didn't you start with that?
I like as well that Chip Zdarsky remembers that every now and then the Guardians are really cocky motherfuckers.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, Hal's like, I love that he makes Hal the one being like, did you never think that Darkseid would do this, and be like, we kept him at like an arm's length because he kept the core strong.
We had a treaty
and everything, and we never thought he would do this. I'm like, he's a bad guy. Of course he would. It's classic Guardians thought logic.
Oh yeah. Oh, 100%. We had a treaty with Apocalypse. I'm like, oh yeah, you had a treaty, right? And he's gonna bury you in it. And they're like, no, it's okay, Hal. We sent the other Guardians to the other parts of the universe to restart the core if we need to. And then, like, a Darkseid comes through the frickin' portal. It's like, nope, killed them all. Damn. It's interesting, too, that, Hal was in his regular costume there, but has his crazy armor in the future. Yeah. In fact, Hal in general, again, I know I might have called it a little early, but I think Hal is actually the secret villain of this story.
Because he's kind of dressed like a parallax sort of look. Yeah,
it's because he's dressed like a parallax, and also another thing too that stuck out to me. All the other heroes, their big thing is that they're all still kind of tense and fighting with each other, and they try and stop a ship from like flying into a black hole, and they're like all straining and doing everything they can. Hal shows up and just easily fixes it, and I'm like, oh, everyone else is weaker and older and everything, but Hal is as strong as ever, maybe even stronger.
He's in league with Darkseid, and he got like the power battery.
Or something like that. There's clearly something we're not seeing, but it's like, yeah, how come Hal is like older but stronger?
That'd be pretty cool. Oh, and as well, there was that, because we got the like sort of flashback to like Martian Manhunter and Batman on Apocalypse. That something was coming for them as well. We never saw what it was.
Yes, absolutely. So again, there's still a lot of mystery to be revealed, but yeah, they're building an interesting tapestry. They're building an interesting story. Yeah, Zdarsky does good work. I like where this is going. Yeah. Well, also too, another part of the mystery too is that after they save that ship, John and Superman have a talk, and John's like, "Oh, you did the right thing, Superman." And obviously, it's supposed to have a double meaning. Like, yeah, you did the right thing here and now, but also you did the right thing before, whatever that thing was. That's what I really
liked about that as well. It's like, Superman, because Superman blames himself for like Martian Manhunter's death, and kind of blames Batman as well.
Yeah.
And it's like, of course he would. Like, even if he wasn't indirectly involved or anything, Superman will believe that because he protects not just the people of Earth, but like his friends as well.
Yeah, that makes him feel especially weak, and cuts him especially deep. More DC, because this was a big DC week in general. We have the Joker number 4.
We did, yeah.
More stuff with Gordon there. He finally gets his big chance there to shoot the Joker, and his internal monologue is great because, Joker's fighting it out with the Texas cannibals, and the daughter of Bane is like, I could do it. I could shoot him right now, and I could get away with it. I could even lie about it if I wanted. But he just can't bring himself to do it. And I thought that was a very cool, fork in the road moment where he really thought about it but couldn't bring himself to do it.
Yeah, I thought that was really great.
He also, this issue talks a lot about morality and Gordon being like, I always thought I was like, the most moral man in an immoral city, but I clearly fucked up my kids and I fucked up my first marriage and everything. And, did it, helping Batman and everything. Was that my excuse I told myself to try and make it all okay? And I'm like, man, this is a hell of a deep cut deconstruction. They could never do this to Batman, but they can do it to Gordon. Not. Which I think is the strength of this story, that they're allowed to take Gordon to these places and be like, maybe I'm not the hero I was. And in fact, when the Joker catches him later, the Joker basically says it where it's like, yeah, Batman's as crazy as me. And you, placated him for all these years. And, because you placate him, I can't stop. And I'm like, wow, that's also more insightful than the Joker normally is. Joker's really insightful in this issue where he's like, look, you're doing the whole private detective thing now. I want to hire you, Jim. Because I didn't do the A-Day attack. And if you read the other books, we know he didn't.
It was Scarecrow related.
Yeah. But what's fun is that Gordon can't bring himself to believe him.
Oh, well, rightly so. I mean...
Yeah, he doesn't want to believe me. He's like, the Joker's not innocent of anything, especially this. And Joker's other big thing is like, yeah, I want you to investigate this. I want you to investigate your employers, because once you discover the truth of how the world really works and the people who are really pulling the strings, your whole worldview on justice is going to be so freaking shattered that it's going to be worse than anything I did to you in Killing Joke. And you're going to do it to yourself, because I know now that I've put this mystery in the world to you, you're not going to be able to stop. And I'm like, damn, this is some interesting material.
Yeah, again, leave it to a Joker book to have Jim Gordon be the main character.
And a very interesting character, too, at that. Even Daughter of Bane has a good moment where she lets Gordon go, and it's like, you should go home. Like, I'm not going to kill you, I'm not going to do anything. Like, you should just go home before this gets bad for you. So, yeah, it's, again, continues to be very fun, very interesting. That and Beta Ray Bill are probably my two favorite miniseries that are on the go right now. Again, 2021 isn't over yet, but they are very strong contenders for best miniseries of the year so far.
Speaking of Joker, I had the first part of that Matthew Rosenberg Joker story, Puzzle Box.
Oh, yeah. See, I picked that up, and I was going to do it for the channel, but then I got too backed up. How is it?
It's pretty good. It's pretty funny. The whole premise of the issue is about Joker being brought in to be questioned by Jim and Harvey. And because he's the only villain who would talk to them, because there's something's happened. We'll learn at the end of the issue what that thing is. But Joker takes them through like the events that led up to him being put into that interrogation room, and it's Joker's word against everyone else's. So Joker's like embellishing facts where it's like, oh, all the villains got together at my hideout to thank me. I don't know what for. I tend to ask questions, because you ask questions around these people, they tend to kill you. So I just accepted it. And then Batman and Robin came in, and I thought they were like party people that they'd hired, and they started beating up my friends. And he's putting like words in Batman's mouth about Batman's being like, oh, thank you for helping us, Joker. I couldn't have done it without you. You're my best partner. And Jim
so he's Bill
Jim
Brasking
and Bullock just like aren't buying any of it. They're like, what happened? And he keeps continuing the story, and then like the cops show up and arrest him. So what Jim and Harvey want to know is like why the villains were there, and why a certain villain wasn't there, and that certain villain was Riddler, because apparently Riddler has been stabbed to death. And they want to know like, if Joker is involved with this or who did it, and Joker's the only one who will talk to the cops about it.
Oh, jeez.
So they've got to go on his word, basically, and he's just fucking with them the entire time.
So it's literally a game of unreliable narrator.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, is the puzzle box trying to, uncover what Joker is saying, or is the puzzle box a literal thing that Nigma put together before he was stabbed?
Again, this could all be part of the puzzle box, but I do like that it was a look at like Joker and Batman's relationship, and how Joker sees himself in the eyes of others, and that is that he's like the most important person to everyone, and like
we don't get that.
I thought
much.
That was pretty great. It was a great like look at his ego.
Very much so. Yeah, that sounds fun. That sounds like a Matthew Rosenberg story I would enjoy. Again, because we're just hitting all the Batman stories out of the park right now. Detective Comics. I actually just read this one before we started. Good. Yeah, again, we're doing a very interesting mystery stuff here with Tamaki, and just when you thought you knew what was going on, friggin' crazy parasites.
Bug monsters.
Sure, why not? I love, too, that the guy who, seems to be the de facto villain here, Hugh, we had seen him in a couple other issues, and it's only in this issue after he goes all gross bug monster on people do we find out his last name is Vile, and it's like, oh, fuck off, his name is Mr. Vile. What a supervillain-ass name. Look, if you work in Gotham and your name is Mr. or Mrs. anything vaguely villainous, you don't get the job. Because 9 times out of 10, you're going to become a bad guy. Really, though, the story's about Batman or Bruce being brought in by the police because, hey, 2 of your lady neighbors have shown up dead in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, and they were both last seen with you or, like, around you.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're the new guy in the neighborhood, and I'm like, fuck, are the Gotham cops actually doing their jobs?
And not only that, they're doing it against, like, a still marginally rich white man.
Yes. Where it's like, look, guys, even we can't let you off on this one, unfortunately.
The new mayor, he's
There's just too much evidence. Yeah, it's just too much. Normally, we just give you a pat on the back and a warm glass of milk and let you go, but not this time, unfortunately. Though, ironically, it is another equally wealthy man that is trying to kill Bruce in this situation, and that is Mr. Worth, who decides he's tired for waiting for the cops to get revenge for what happened to his daughter, and decides to blow up the police station with a rocket launcher.
And then try and hunt Bruce through the sewers. And I kind of like that he's kind of filling in kind of a Bane role, because we can't have like a giant villain for Batman to beat up, so they make this guy like a huge man who Bruce has to beat up.
Yep. I like that his beef is entirely with Bruce and nothing to do with Batman. Yep. Though in this issue he seeks to imply that maybe his beef has nothing to do with his daughter's death and he's just after Bruce for completely different reasons.
Yeah, there's like this weird like a vengeance thing he wants for Bruce for some reason.
I don't know if you read the backup, but there's a backup where we hear more from Deb Donovan, the journalist, and we find out that Mr. Worth actually had another daughter who died of like a heart condition at 4. And that he and like the other rich people built like a new pediatric hospital in Gotham or something. And I'm like, oh, does it have something to do with that? Did something happen to the hospital because of Bruce? And is that why he's pissed?
Did he not keep funding it or something?
Or something. Or when he lost his money, he couldn't keep funding it. Or took that personally.
Bruce, like he found that like the money that was going there was being funneled elsewhere, so he pulled it, and that mean the center got shut down or something.
Or something like that. I'm like, that's a very interesting piece of information to put in a backup story if it's not going to be important. In this book especially, you got to read the backup stories because they're actually important. I think we're programmed to be like, backup stories aren't important. They're just little extra stuff. Mariko Tamaki's like, no, these are actually important. So that's good. The chat asked if we're multi-streaming. Yes, we are for the 3rd week in a row now. Just another
on
monster.
Twitch and YouTube.
Yeah, so hello to the 28 people on Twitch, and hello to the 31 people on YouTube for watching us. Always appreciated. So yeah, that was Detective Comics. It keeps going in interesting directions. I'm not bored of this mystery.
I like that the killer isn't like a serial killer or anything. It's like a weird alien bug monster thing.
Yeah, but who does seem to be pointing their infections because they keep infecting people close to the mayor's office. For some reason, maybe to destabilize the Gotham higher-ups and also destabilize Penguin and his people, too. Again, this could all
just be related to Magistrate and, like, because it all seems to fit really well together.
Well, in that last issue, we saw Hugh Vile taking a meeting with Simon Saint. Which, again, I don't know, does Simon Saint know he's a gross bug monster, or is that just his own thing? Bug monster? I don't know. I liked the connective tissue. I liked where it's like, oh yeah, look, both Tamaki and Tynan are talking to each other. So that's good. Just another monster saying, I was watching you guys on Twitch, had to run to the bathroom, but now I'm on YouTube. Because, like all of us, I'm sure you take your phone to the bathroom with you and be like, hey, what's going on here? I know I do it. Joel, you gotta stop texting on the phone, or stop texting when you're on the toilet. But yeah, so that was good. What else did you have, Matt?
We had the final Jonathan Hickman X-Men book, X-Men issue 21.
Yes. Yeah, hard to believe that this is the last one, but honestly, I thought it was kind of a fitting ending.
It was, but then it was also a really weird ending in that it was like upbeat and like happy.
Yes.
And like compared to like the issue beforehand.
Yes, this is a real go out on a high note moment. I think this is like, it's that moment in every mob movie where it's like, and they didn't know how good they had it because, the house of cards was already about to tumble all down around them.
On top of that, it was extra fucking weird because like for like half the issue is, or a good chunk of the issue is Cyclops explaining his deal and the deal of like many mutants to Kevin Feige.
Yes. Yes. And before that, it was about Namor, and then that completely shifts. It really is like an issue of two parts. You get Namor cutting a fucking promo on Krakoa and Xavier and Magneto. Oh, it's wonderful. And let me tell you what I think about you, little man. If I wanted to see at your council, I'd kick down the fucking door and take it.
Yeah, you own an island in the 70% of the world that I own.
Yeah, motherfucker, I would only sit at a council with my equals, and I don't see any of you punk-ass bitches as my equals.
I like how he's doing it when he's like shotgunning like champagne while doing it as well.
Yes. Oh yeah, it's like, look, I'll come to your party, I'll drink your booze, but no, you don't own me, you don't own Atlantis. And you know Magneto and Eric are like, he's gonna be a problem. Should we do something about him? He's gonna be a problem.
Get Beast on him.
Yeah. Get Beast on his ass. Is Krakoa going to have to go to war with the ocean? Is that going to be Beast's idea? Look, I have this plan, guys. We blow up the ocean. Will anyone miss it? I don't think so.
We'll get Forge to make a device that dissipates all water on the Earth. And then we can just sell like Krakoan bottled water to the humans.
Yeah, really. We got Aqua Boy over here. We just got him working overtime making water. For that sweet, sweet water that will sell at an inflated price. Oh, don't talk about inflation for that shit. The price of meat in Canada is ridiculous right now. Yeah, really. It's something about, like, the supply lines mean they can't get feed for the cattle, and because plants are closing down and everything, and they got to pass the money they're not making on to everyone else. Gonna be eating a lot of bologna sandwiches the next little bit if the chicken keeps being $20. It's more like $16, but like still pretty up there to the point where I'm like, I refuse this. And to think I was eating healthy and everything there. Yeah, apparently eating healthy is expensive, so it's going to be back to pizza rolls and sandwiches. But the second half, like you said, is all about Cyclops. And it's interesting for him to like reaffirm the fact where it's like, look, I love Xavier, I care about Krakoa, but also it's not really my bag. I want to do things differently.
Yeah, I like that. Again, in the last couple of weeks, we've had a lot of mutants actually going up against the council and like question, like in Sword, we had Fabian Cortez actually question the law about killing humans and how that's kind of wrong, and like they have no effect on it, and he got kicked off the team because he questioned that law. We've got Cyclops here, who we got Legion, we got Cyclops here, kind of questioning the laws and using the X-Men as a team away from the council and council oversight.
Yeah, we want to do good independently, and we kind of want to win back people's faith who we may have lost. Which I thought that was cool, and also a good marching order for Duggan when he eventually takes over the book. They also have fun psychic fireworks at the end where Emma invites everyone in the world to a psychic fireworks display. And I'm like, oh, that's so nice. But also because this is Emma Frost and this is Krakoa, is there some underlying sinister thing?
She connected everyone's minds together. Did she put something in there?
Or did she take something?
Yeah, because she was after something in this issue from like some secret society that like were like outraged. They knew the mutants knew they existed and something.
Yeah, they were all face covered. I'm like, wait, are these like from those other realms, from like X of Swords? Have we seen these people before? I know they mentioned Mad Jim Jaspers again. Which, God, I cannot believe Hickman is all into Mad Jim Jaspers and bringing them all over the place. What a fucking deep cut. But yeah, so it ends on like a surprisingly happy note, which I guess is kind of fun for Hickman to be like, yes, and there so ends the Dawn of X, and they lived happily ever after until the reign of X.
Until Inferno.
Until Inferno, where I'm going to burn down everything I built.
I have to assume that's what's going to happen.
Is what it sounds like. But yeah, so it
was pretty
solid.
good. Pretty damn good.
Yeah. I appreciate it for having a happy ending. Again, the Hellfire Gala in general feels like the opposite of X of Swords, where it's like, nah, and then we all just had a nice party together.
It's very strange, like, for, like, an event.
Yeah. I mean, it really wasn't even an event as much as it was, like, a bunch of tie-ins with an overarching
and sort
theme.
of, like, capping off all the books, basically.
Yeah, which I don't hate. And again, the mutants together and having a nice party is very X-Men. I mean, this is a team we love because they played baseball at one time. This is kind of like that. This is like playing baseball, but just having a nice
with
party.
the underlying theme of like them mostly committing war crimes.
Yeah, you know, gotta grease some elbows, gotta grease some palms, gotta do whatever it takes, get the job done. But yeah, that was good. What else? I had two more from this week. We're actually making good time. I had Batman the Detective from Tom Taylor. This was a weird one, and I know it's a mystery story, and I'm sure all the stuff here that seemingly made no sense will make sense later, but basically, this was one giant flashback issue for Bruce to basically tell the story of how he met Henry Ducard and how he trained him.
It was extra weird because, like, I was sure after that last issue, I was sure we were going to be getting an issue based around this Equilibrium character and, like, learning more about her backstory and everything, and then, we're like 2 issues away from the ending and we're getting like a Henry Ducard story, which we kind of already knew.
Yeah, I mean, we can all basically assume that this is how they met. Now, don't get me wrong. Taylor writes a good Ducard. I love that he's just like this schlubby son of a bitch who's like, look, you know, you're paying me a bunch of money to train you. Don't wake me before noon and don't wake me without coffee. Also, you want to do this gig, you got to work at night because, you know, that's where guys like us move best. Also, it's good to have friends on the police force in low places everywhere, and if you got a lot of money, it's a lot easier to make friends. So again, Batman does take some of his advice, but also doesn't take others. And of course, their relationship falls apart because Ducard kills people and he doesn't.
He ends up killing a guy that they were trying to arrest.
Ducard beats him up, which I actually thought is interesting that Bruce still lost that fight, which we don't see very often. They meet up again during a London bomb threat. This is the part that I think is going to be important later, because by the time Batman gets there, Ducard has seemingly killed someone, but says that he didn't. That's probably going to be important later.
It'll probably be like what I think it'll be like a retelling of this issue, but instead of Bruce, it's going to be that other woman. And she's gonna kill the guy,
from her point of view.
when Henry like tried to stop her after learning from Bruce, and she ends up killing the guy, and she's the one who set the bomb or something
like that, because Ducard said, "Oh, you're like one of the 2 best I've ever trained." I'm like, well, no one says that if the other one's not going to come up. That's clearly supposed to be important. And yeah, I mean, that's basically the issue. It ends with Bruce being framed for Ducard's murder. He seemingly dies, but this is Ducard, so he could easily have slipped away. We don't know what actually happened. Also, too, man, they're spending a lot of time in this series in hospitals. You notice that?
A lot of time.
Like, every other panel is them. They're in the secret hospital. They're in the real hospital. They're in the other hospital. Apparently, Europe is nothing but hospitals. Apparently, Tom Taylor is really into this, you know, National Health Service medicine. So that's good. But yeah, this one, I didn't love this as much as the other 2 issues, but I'm sure it's all going to tie together. I trust Tom Taylor for having a big, you know, prestige reveal. Yeah. And the last one I had was Spider-Man this week.
What's happening in the Chameleon Conspiracy?
so much is happening
I thought so.
in the
Like, I
Chameleon
started reading
conspiracy.
the first two issues, and I'm like, this is so much to take in. What the fuck?
I see why Marvel is making Nick Spencer take on a co-writer now, because literally we're getting to the point for the last 2 issues, it feels like Spencer has been explaining his story and not telling it
over and over again, when we already know. If you've been reading for this long, we already know what's going to happen.
Right, or like giving overlong answers to be like, haha, you nerds, you know, I did my homework, so don't feel like you can checkmark me out there because I know what I'm doing. So he explains how this version of Ned Leeds is seemingly alive again, and he ties it back into like that special, you know, Wolverine versus Spider-Man story from way back when they were both in Europe. And he's like, you know, look, after Ned seemingly got beaten by Flash Thompson, he thought the world was closing in around him, so he took a bunch of Goblin formula, which he was never supposed to have because he was only like brainwashed into being Hobgoblin by Kingsley. But he took it anyway, meaning when he was mysteriously shot by all of the Foreigner's goons, he had like enough healing factor in him to dig himself out. And the reason you haven't seen him all this time, the real Ned Leeds, is because a mysterious figure picked him up, which I'm going to guess is Kindred. I'm going to think he's not really back to life. He just thinks he is because Kindred brought him back using magic. That's the way I'm thinking it. And now him and Betty are working this like Russian misinformation campaign case that, oh, hey, look, just so happens to be funded by the Foreigner, who is also has his hooks into Jamie right now to steal the catalyst so they can power the clairvoyant device so they can see the future. For reasons that have yet to be explained, and Spider-Man actually breaks up their heist that was going really well, and so the Foreigner and Chance and all those jack-o'-lantern drones come in to fight him, and that's basically the issue.
When does the new writer come on?
Bresson, I think he comes in after the next arc, which I think is that Sinister War or whatever.
I was going to hop on with this, but I read those first 2 issues. I'm like, this is way too much. What the hell?
They are just piling it on. And I'm like, look, Nick, I respect that you know your Spider-Man history. I respect that you're fitting this all in and having it all work and everything. But it's like, in pursuit of what? To tell a story about Richard and Mary Parker that like most fans scoff at anyway? Because, again, that's the thing, too, you know, Teresa doesn't know what she is. Is she a clone? Is she an LMD? Is she, you know, like, actually the Parker's daughter? We don't know, but by the end of this story, it's probably going to be different. And, again, it's a lot to take in.
It is. It's
just
so
a lot.
much.
It's so much. I hesitate to call it bad, because it all works, but it's just a little draining. It's like the opposite of like a Tom King book where like nothing makes sense and you drive yourself crazy trying to put it together.
Too much.
This is like everything makes sense. Yeah, where it's everything makes sense, but you're like taking too much time explaining it. But so that's Spider-Man, and that was that was everything I read this week.
The last one I had was the Heroes Reborn Young Squadron.
Oh, yes, the Big Champions one that Zub got to come back and write.
It was pretty good. I like half the issue is just pages detailing how these certain members of the team got their powers and stuff. We got like Sam Alexander. He thwarted a MODOK attack when against Dr. Spectrum and gained a part of his prism, so he became Kid Spectrum. Kamala Khan worked at a museum in Jersey City where they had utopian artifacts, and the curator was selling them, and she used some of the artifacts to like defend them. And Power Princess says she could keep them, so she became Girl Power. And Miles Morales is like a big fanboy of Falcon and Nighthawk. And when Falcon died, he decides, well, I'm going to take the Falcon's place, and he.
How very Tim Drake of you.
Developed and like built like a costume and tried to like be his partner, and Nighthawk says, if you come out in that costume again, I'll fucking kill you. And
sounds like
he still does, and he does it in like secret, and he ends up getting the other 2 characters together, and they form the Young Squadron. And the issue is about them fighting the Wrecking Crew, who in this universe got all their powers from stealing utopian magic.
Makes sense, because
during the fight, Deadpool shows up, And
oh shit!
His again, he looks like he did in that was it the Heroes Reborn issue, the Nighthawk issue, where he's briefly in that issue where his costumes all teared up and everything, and he ends up kidnapping Falcon, and we learned that he kidnapped him because again, it's very stupid, but it's like, yeah, it's Royd Wilson, of course this is stupid. He knows that like the Falcon is dead, so he has to kill the Falcon so it stays dead.
Oh, right, because he's the Harley in this universe.
Kind of, yeah. He's got like a big hammer and everything, and yeah. And then the other two track Falcon down through the Whisperer, Rick Jones, who's been tracking, who's like he's like a gossip rag TMZ sort of guy for heroes. He's been tracking Falcon using the wavelength his costume sends off. Which is it was a little bit. That's the one thing I didn't like about the issue. It was a little bit of a coincidence that Falcon is the one who gets kidnapped, and he's the one that they've been tracking. So they were able to follow him and find out where Falcon is and stop Deadpool. But it's at the end of the issue, the kids learn that because Deadpool actually he says something like quite sane, which is he knows that the kids have seen the Squadron Supreme, who they based on, do some really horrible shit. They always go that extra step where it's like sometimes they use like lethal force, and it's like Dr. Spectrum like vaporizing a bunch of people and all that sort of stuff. So it's like, do they really have everyone's best interest in mind? And it's that little seed that gets the kids to decide, well, we're not going to be the young squadron anymore. We'll be champions for people.
Fun.
Well, they're all one and dones, all these tie-ins. Yeah, but it was pretty fun.
Which is probably for the best. Well, that's good. So yeah, is that it, Matt? Is that everything for the night? Yeah. Is that all right? So there you go, everyone. I guess we'll start winding this show down. Again, thank you so much for coming out and listening. We always appreciate it. If you're a patron, you'll get to listen to the show first before anyone else. We got some new patrons just recently. If you know who you are, thank you so much for that. We really appreciate it, especially now in these trying times when I'm not sure about YouTube and longer content and everything. Also, now is the time too, if you don't regularly comment, comment for the algorithm. That's always much appreciated. That always helps. Take the surveys if they give them to you. That also helps us in a big way. Get yourself a delicious Wild Bill soda and use the promo code CapeJoel for 10% off. We're headed into the summer now. We could all use cool, refreshing drinks, could we not? So that would be good. And just be sure to check us out on Twitter and other social media. We'll always let you know when the show's starting. Hopefully we'll be back again, same time, same place, unless something happens.
Tomorrow I am looking at doing another stream. I know I said I would do one yesterday, but I had some work stuff pop up at the last minute, so I wasn't able to stream. But I'll be continuing my Ratchet and Clank playthrough. Really been enjoying it. That game looks so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It does. It looks actually next gen, yeah. No doubt about that. So again, thank you so much, everyone, for showing up as always on both apps. Again, I'm trying to write how much I appreciate it here over on YouTube, but that doesn't mean I don't love you on Twitch any less. I love you all 10,000. So thank you so much, everyone, and we'll be back again next time. Bye-bye.